Hey there. I got a haircut, and I actually really like it. I think if I were to go back in time, I would tell her to cut this even shorter, because basically I just got the back cut short. And then I became like obsessed with coming in here and staring at myself because I actually really like my hair right now. It's rare that I feel this happy about what I look like, I think. But I really like it. Anyway, I think I'm gonna leave the bathroom and go to outside and talk some in this video because it's not all about my hair. I wanted to talk about all kinds of other things. Okay, I'm like a, I'm a, well, they don't really, nobody really, I guess what I should say is that popular culture is not yet aware of people like me. I mean, not like mainstream people my age. People younger than me, I think, are aware of gender non-binary, which is what I am. And of course, that's one of the things that I'm gonna be, I suppose, not really supporting, but like, what do you call that? Standing up for, I suppose. But I don't really feel like we really need to be stood up for that much, because I don't think that my group, as far as gender non-binary people go, has been attacked all that much in the history that term has existed. I suppose this is like the first video I've ever made where I kind of openly talk about my gender, but it's not so taboo anymore. To me, it used to be much more taboo, but now it's not taboo. It's not like weird to talk about anymore. It's not weird at all, but I mean, I wouldn't talk about it with any ordinary person just in conversation, because they would take it strangely. But most of the time, I think people can detect when they're around me that I'm not, that I give off, I think I give off a feminine energy that other people can't really figure out, but they can tell that something's different about me. Okay, so I guess I'll talk about it. I mean, I'm not afraid to talk about it. I'm not gonna, I'm wanting to step into the public spotlight somehow, because I'm an interesting person, but Um, in the public spotlight, I suppose I was afraid, like, as far as making YouTube videos, I was, like, afraid to talk about gender and my views of gender, because they're a little bit out there, and it's not necessarily that I thought I'd be bullied, it's that when I try to market myself, I suppose, to the world, I am always trying to fit in a sense. I mean, not always, but with a lot of things I am trying to fit in, because I mean, underneath it all, I don't really have much of an identity, and my identity is kind of built by my view of the middle. See, well, I guess what I'm trying to do with everything about myself, about my identity and whatnot, is that I'm trying to go midway between all binaries. And I believe very strongly that midway between all binaries is the highest happiness. I thought for a very short period of time in my life that midway between all binaries is actually the highest unhappiness. But this was a paranoid way of looking at it. And I think that moment came and went, and ever since then, I mean, I have no other identity to cling to. Like, I am this way. This is me. And I mean, maybe for a while in my life, I suppose when I was between the ages of 13 and 17, I was acting very masculine. But even then, I didn't fit in. I didn't really have, like, I wasn't friends with other guys. And if I was, they weren't, like, hyper masculine guys. They weren't alpha males, like, ever. Because I don't tend to get along with them. I mean, I tend to like people that are kind of like me, but it's very hard to find gender non-binary people. They're very rare, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, yeah, so let me tell the story, I suppose, of my gender, finding my gender. I mean, let's see, I guess when I was like 6, I started kind of slightly venturing off the path of what culture views as masculine. Like, I was wearing jewelry. I mean, I wanted earrings, but I never really said that to anyone because my parents are very conservative and they wouldn't have liked that. But I was wearing, like, necklaces and bracelets and anklets, and I also colored my hair all the time, and I still do. There's some highlights in there. I'm actually gonna redo it too. And what else? I never, not for a moment in my life, did I consider myself to be, like, tough or wanting to be tough, wanting to be masculine. I never really wanted to be masculine. I mean, I wanted to be strong, I suppose. Not necessarily physically strong, but also physically strong. I mean, I was kind of an athlete all through until high school ended. Even after high school, a little bit, I swam. I was a very good swimmer. Very fast at the freestyle, which was my favorite. And I mean, just to, if any of you, if anyone watching this knows the, like the Olympic times, my fastest 50 freestyle, which was my favorite event because it's just so chaotic and fast and over the top. My fastest 50 freestyle it was like a 23.9, which I did at community college. But that was when that was 2011, and I was 18, I think, or 17. And I'm 25 now, and a lot of people think that I'm a lot younger, and I think a lot of the times when I talk, people think that I'm talking like a little kid, or not, maybe not a little kid, but they think I talk like a teenager or something. And I suppose in a certain sense, it's that I've refused to grow up. But in another sense, I don't believe that is growing up. I think that that's a delusion and illusion that everyone falls into at around my age. And it's almost like my voice hasn't dropped, but it has. I'm just speaking in it's not even really a higher register. It's like I'm speaking more in the timbre. Is that the right word? Yeah, I'm speaking more in the timbre than in the bass note. See, like that. I mean, what I'm talking in right now is really like my natural voice. I mean, all throughout this video has been pretty much my natural voice. I mean, being a gender non-binary, you have the ability to be extremely masculine or extremely feminine whenever you want to. Or it really doesn't happen when you want it to. It really happens whenever it happens. It's kind of automatic. And you just go with whatever you feel at that moment, I suppose. But you don't really think about it. But if I really try to think about it, I can bring myself to it's so hard to do. I don't know why. It's hard to be extremely feminine, and it's hard to be extremely masculine. I find myself in the middle most of the time. But if I see, it's really hard to do. It sounds so weird because I talk like this all the time. This is about how I talk right here, and yeah, that's about how I talk. But oh god, it's so hard. You know, but sometimes I guess that's about as masculine as I can go. Yeah, but sometimes I like to talk in a really deep voice, and I don't know. See, I can't even do it. I sometimes I think that maybe I'm not even gender non-binary, but I'm intergender, and I suppose I'm both. You know, sometimes one and sometimes the other. There was a short period of time when I thought that I was dual gender. But I think I kind of realized that doesn't work because I suppose the way I see it now is that gender is a spectrum, and you can only be like at any one point in that spectrum. You can't really be at two places at once. As far as your voice and your Um, the emotional tone, the prosody of your voice, it seems like it can only be at one point in the spectrum at a time, not in two. So it's not dual gender, and I don't think it ever was dual gender. I don't think that's even possible. It's a combination of gender non-binary and intergender, or I'm kind of on the spectrum wherever I am at any given moment. I mean, sometimes, like, I guess if I get in a position where I have to be, like, really dominant, I will go fully male just automatically. And sometimes I think it disturbs people a little bit. Like, I mean, here's a good example is, like, if my dog poops on the floor or whatever, I will go into a much more masculine voice just to control him, I guess, or tell him no, you know. But most of the time when I'm just being nice to my dogs, which I always am, just being, like, sweet, I guess, that's when I'm in a much more feminine mode. And I think that everyone kind of transitions a little bit between masculine and feminine, especially when dealing with things like babies and puppies and kittens and stuff like that. Like, even the toughest guy will be momentarily turned just ever so slightly feminine in response to something like that. Which brings me to a really interesting question that I have yet to, like, fully answer for myself, and that is, what is really the difference between male and female? I mean, it's the tone of voice, I suppose. The tone of voice, the emotional prosody, and melodies, I suppose. I think men tend to be more rigid and sharp with their vocal tonality changes. Women tend to be more smooth. You know, but there's that question, like, when it comes to, for example, drag queens, they're acting in a way that can be seen as feminine, but it's unique. It's really unique to drag queens, and they're all male. And they tend to be gay and not transgender, and not, well, I mean, maybe sometimes gender non-binary or intergender, but, like, most of the time they seem just like gay males to me. But it's an interesting subject, because I don't think that they are really capturing what it is to be feminine, and they're I mean, they might have subtly captured it in the moment, but all of the extra oomph that they give it when they go into their theatrics, it seems it's not necessarily feminine, but it's I mean, this word, I don't even think this word exists, but it kind of works. They're attractionary. attractionary, or it's not attractive because that implies that I think they're attractive. That's not. I don't even really think they're attractive. I just think that they are attracting. But even that word doesn't work. So attractionary. That seems like the right word for that.